Hi, everybody. I wanted to speak today about the power that our thoughts have on our interactions in relationships. So, there's been research recently about the difference between using our words versus body language, that body language is 90% of actually what's being communicated in conversation. So, it doesn't matter what you're saying verbally, if you're holding yourself a certain way, whether you're like this or like that, that's actually giving off the message. That's what's being communicated subconsciously between the two people or you and the group of people. And I wanted to put that in a little bit farther and say it's not just our body language, but it's actually the energy that we're giving off that's emanating from us. And that energy that's coming up is from our subconscious thoughts and from our thoughts consciously as well. So if you're having thoughts, let's say you're in a relationship that has a very specific dynamic, like this person always overreacts. So when you let them know, like, hey, I'm running 5 minutes late, you're already thinking, ugh, like they're going to overreact. And then right away, what do? They overreact. They call you, they send you a message like, but you said you're going to come at this and this time. Our thoughts, actually, believe it or not, are having an influence on this person's reactivity. Whether they're a reactive person or not, us thinking that towards them has a huge effect. So just a little story here. I used to work with this tour guide who was a special human being. Like he had this special effect to him that no matter who he was talking to, whether it was the CEO of our company or the person who never listened, the camper who always spoke back, he would just, I couldn't explain it. He just transformed them, or the best parts of them would come out as he spoke to them. And he would kind of look at them with his eyes. I called it like the effect that he gave. You know, if ever we had to have like a hard conversation with someone or we had to call someone and have a hard conversation, I'd ask him to do it because I couldn't explain it. It was the way he spoke or the way he just looked in people's eyes. It just melted them. So one time I asked him, I'm like, okay, you have to tell me your secret. What is it that you do? And instead of denying it or being like, no, I'm nothing, he actually knew exactly what I was talking about. And he said that anytime he goes into conversation with somebody, he literally takes a moment just to pray and connect to the divine and ask, show me how you see this person, not how I see this person, not what everybody else sees in this person, and not what's going to be projected onto this person or who this person has been until now, but show me, God, the way that you see this person. And suddenly, like, he said he'll notice that they actually have a really sweet side to them, or they actually have a value that they really care about. Or all these things, certain things that wouldn't be shining towards, the regular person, because we just see this kid as like a crappy camper or that CEO as like a hard ass. But like suddenly looking at them the way that God sees them, you see their tenderness, you see their softness. And I started implementing that in my own work. And just what's been blooming from these interactions has been incredible, in the sense of like when I just connect for a moment and say, before I go into this conversation with any idea of how it's going to go or with any like pre-understanding based on what other people said to me, let me just connect for a moment to God and let me just connect to this person and say, show me how God sees you. And I don't even say anything different. I might say exactly what I was going to say before. I might have exactly the same thing to do, but who they are, they just embody um, a little bit closer to the person that they were meant to be. And I find that with my own self also, of I have all these stories of why I'm not good enough, or all these stories of how I don't measure. And when I just take a moment and ask myself, okay, what if I saw myself just for one moment, 5 minutes a day, not even, just when you look in the mirror, instead of going into the critical route that we always do, what would happen if I just for a moment ask myself, what is it that God sees when God looks at me? And then when I talk to people also, I can just hold that for a moment and embody that vibration of, show me you as the God that you are, and I will show you myself as the God that I am. And then what transfers there is just always so different than what it would have been if we just looked at who we're not or how we're not measuring up, but actually who we could become. So I hope that resonates with you. I hope that really just try it out for an experiment today, something that you're having a challenging time with. And even somebody that you're not, if you're going to go buy a coffee, literally try it with that. show me the way that God sees you and watch how that person will interact with you. It's actually magic. All right. Well, I'm signing off. I hope this was a helpful weekly wisdom. I'm sending everybody love.